Yes, indeed. What's up, everybody? Tyrone E. Wilson here. I am the CEO and founder of Cover6 Solutions. Today is October 11th, and we are conducting our very first Cybersecurity Awareness Month live interview. We are doing it as part of the DC Cybersecurity Professionals meetup group, where we have been having virtual meetups ever since COVID happened. But we're looking to get into more in-person meetups in the Washington, D.C. area. We're actually looking to book the Crystal City Marriott. So if you're in that area, try to make plans to make it out there. It is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. This is the 11th day of the month. What we have been doing as an organization is every day we've created an educational video and put the information out on all of our social media channels. So if you were to follow us at Cover6 Solutions, all one word, either on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and
Gotta go
also, and then also in our Discord channel. So you should see Alex post the links shortly. If not, I will also post the links. But what you can do is either on our YouTube channel or on the Cover6 Solutions website, you will see a playlist for all of the NCSAM videos. So we've been putting out one every single day. It's 31 different topics, and we give you a short video on those topics. Today, we are with Davin Jackson. I've always been a big fan of Davin. We've always been cool. I've always wanted to support anything that he's ever been associated with. I feel like you guys are going to do really, really well in Davin's company, right? In his presence. He's got a lot to offer you all. Before we get started, though, I saw Sebastian put it out there. So I guess Sebastian may know that I like to ask this question, but I would like to know where in the world are you all tuning in from? If you feel comfortable letting us know, what physical location are you all tuning in from?
Oh, so I'm about to do a shameless plug. So I am tuning in from my center, Alpha Esports Technology here in Sewanee, Georgia. So look, I'm about to do the quick tour real quick.
Yeah, sure thing. Let us know about the facility, Davin. Let us know.
All right. So that's where I'm at now. So for those who who are familiar with me, if my setup looks a little different, that's because let me get the light out the background. If the setup looks a little different, that's because I am streaming from my center here in Sewanee, Georgia. So I'm here in the North Georgia area. It's about 40 minutes north of Atlanta. I have a esports gaming and technology center, and we're doing some stuff here around, just like I said, we're teaching gaming, we're teaching healthy gaming, trying to bring back that community element. Sort of like when we were younger, Ty, we used to go to arcades and all of that. So it's kind of, having that same setup. That's why you got the computers in the close vicinity. We got different layouts for 6v6, 3v3, 5v5, all different types of gaming. And then we also teach around the what they call the esports ecosystem. So it's basically, showing where gaming can lead to different jobs, whether it's in the gaming industry or different industries like tech, film and movies, or audio, visual, audio, podcasting, content creation. So we kind of show the different avenues there. So where I'm actually sitting right now, I'm sitting on my presentation stage, which is also my shoutcasting table, which is where everybody comes to do like the play-by-play for the event. So you can sit up here on the stage and watch the game. We have a couple TVs that stream everything around. We have a little sitting area with a Raspberry Retro Pi with some old games that you could play over there, and a Nintendo Switch. So like I said, so we do that stuff, and we also kind of teach the healthy gaming. So I came in here with the goal of trying to combat a lot of the negative stereotypes that happen with gaming. So, you know, we have rules plastered all over the walls. You can actually see one back over here. That's just basically talking about, you know, having good sportsmanship and, you know, moving with respect and integrity. You know, obviously no cheating. And then obviously which is something we're going to talk about today, no hacking of any kind, because, you know, you don't want those kind of problems. And then, yeah, you know, we talk about that. We talk about inclusivity and, you know, just kind of being a good human being and using gaming as the bridge to enter to engage in more interesting or more engaging conversations. You know, so that was the idea with that, and then also using it as a way to introduce them into tech. So Ty, you remember a couple of years ago, I did that hacking and gaming talk where I kind of used Fortnite as an example. So I've been kind of thinking about that since then, and that's kind of where we are now, about 4 years later. So,
yeah, I mean, that is some good stuff. The facility looks amazing.
Thank you.
It does look amazing. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to benefit from that, especially just to have a sense of community, a place to go, you know, develop some friendships, do some networking, and you can possibly use the space for something else in the future. So
absolutely. So
yeah,
we have, like I said, we have a couple things, like shout out to my wife. She has a custom cake business. We're actually doing a date night event where we're doing gaming, and then in that lounge, the little sitting area, she's going to be teaching, you know, basic little cake designs, doing rosettes and stuff like that. So you pay for it in advance. You get a cake at the door. You sit down, decorate your cake, sit down, and you can have some gaming and enjoy, and go home and take the dessert with you and enjoy it however you enjoy it. So, and then obviously, you know, my workshop that I'm teaching at the end of the month.
Sure thing. We are definitely going to get into that.
Yeah.
But just to touch on it, at the end of the month, Davin is teaching a ethical hacking workshop. Alex will post that link shortly and throughout the video. But before we get into that, Davin, can you let us know just a little bit about you really quick and what got you into the industry and the passion that drives you to teach ethical hacking?
Absolutely. I'm out of practice. So my name is Davin Jackson. I've already said that, but my name is Davin Jackson. I also go by DJax Alpha on Twitter. I run Alpha Esports and Technology, but the cybersecurity arm of my business is Alpha Cybersecurity. So that is my cybersecurity content company. I've been doing tech and cybersecurity now for about 16, 17 years. And about 9 or 10 of that has been in the cybersecurity field, mainly in pen testing. I've pen tested from networks, Active Directory, mobile applications, cryptocurrency, the government, you name it. Currently, I am a team lead for a company where we are testing out the capabilities of 911 centers across the country. And yeah, like I said, I've been doing this now for a while. I fell in love with the idea of hacking. Honestly, when I started, I was working at a school system and trying to figure out why we kept getting hit. At the time, we were just getting hit with ransomware all the time, and then we were being DDoS and stuff. And I started going down that rabbit hole of vulnerability assessments and vulnerability analysis and how to test systems. And that's where I kind of stumbled across penetration testing. And, you know, I did some research on that and just kind of was like sold. So, you know, at the time I tried to get my job to pay for the training, but they weren't having it. So I ended up actually having to invest my own money. And I drove down to DC for a week for an ethical hacking training class. And I met my first mentor, Keytron Evans from InfoSec Institute, or I think it's just called InfoSec now. But and you know, just sitting with him just really made me feel like, you know, that it was something that I made the right choice. And you know, just learning about the different creative ways you can think outside the box, or even think that there is no box, or sort of like the Matrix, there is no spoon. That really kept me engaged. You know, there's always something new to learn. There's always a new technique. You can do something today that tomorrow will no longer work, and you have to find a new way in. There's always a new attack out there that you have to research and stay up on. And, again, there's just different attack vectors. Now, currently, I also work with a lot of API security. So I have an API security class that I do with LinkedIn. That's something that I just really love as well, because APIs are essentially the future with everything that we're doing, from web applications to mobile apps to the cloud, IoT, smart homes, autonomous vehicles. A lot of that is API driven. So there's always a new attack and a new vulnerability out there to try to research and exploit. And that's just kind of keeps me going. I did help desk and sysadmin work, and I'm not gonna lie, I just kind of got bored with it, right? It got to a point where I could literally not be in front of my computer, but someone could call me and I could troubleshoot the whole process through the phone with them. And I just wanted to do something more that was a little bit more challenging. And like I said, I just kind of stumbled across penetration testing. So like I said, I've been here the whole time. I dabbled in some forensics for a little bit, but then eventually came back over. And like I said, I never left.
Good stuff. So let's just say there's someone that's new to the industry that wanted to get into ethical hacking. What would you tell them in order to get started?
Well, I mean, the first question I would say is, in general, just, why you want to get into it. Because, the first thing when you talk to a lot of people, especially a lot of in the mentor programs that I have, you talk to them and the first thing they tell you is, oh, well, I heard there was a lot of money. There's a lot of money to be made. And that is true. But I feel like you also have to have a little bit more than that, because there are going to be times where things get really challenging. And that's where you have to remember your why, the reason that you're driving force to keep going during the time where sometimes the money's not even enough. That would be my first thing. But then the second thing I would do, I would recommend is just, read up on what you can about ethical hacking and penetration testing. Google those, and then you can also look at some. Udemy has some courses. I'm trying to do a lot of things that are cost effective when you're first starting out, to kind of get that initial information. And then you could also build labs, learn how to build a virtual lab, and look at some of the CTF walkthroughs on VulnHub, Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, and practice getting your hands-on skills, because that's what, as someone coined the phrase years ago, the keyboard doesn't lie. So, get those skills, and before you go ahead and really invest some, a lot of time and effort into it, take a look at it, do some deep diving research and stuff, and make sure that that's the path you want to go down. You're on mute, brother.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Davin. Not a problem at all. I see what you did there. Davin's talking about, I did this interview with Access Cyber. I was really kind of going through it a little bit, and I was, in a way, getting tired of imposters. Is that a good word to say?
That's a good way.
Yeah, I was getting tired of imposters, and I was doing an interview, and I basically said, you can do all of the marketing and do all of the stuff that you want, but eventually you're going to have to get on the keyboard. And the keyboard doesn't lie. You're either going to know some things or you're not, so.
Yeah. But that's a truthful statement, because we went through a phase which we can do a deep dive on another day. But I feel like a lot of the layoffs that happened was cleaning house from the last few years, because we went through a stage where people kind of, faked it till they made it. And when it came time to actually get behind the keyboard, they couldn't do what they said on their resume, or what they supposedly got certified in. One of the things that I say to people that I talk to is, no matter the economy, there's always going to be a cybersecurity job opening. You just, it might take a little bit longer than others, but if you have the skill set, you really shouldn't have to worry, right? Because you have people who, the ones who are struggling to get jobs right now, I'm not all of them, but a lot of them fall under that category that you mentioned, that, that in those quote unquote imposters. So when you get skills and you can actually speak to those skills, and you can actually put the hands to the keyboard and prove that you have those skills, that skill set, yes, interviews are a pain, but they can't take that from you. And not only can they take that from you, it'll always be with you, and it'll be helpful in the future when you're looking to either move up in the world or move up in the job ranks, or just find a new job. So again, that's why I stress, make sure you get your hands-on, you get your hands-on knowledge and get your hands-on time in there, because a lot of it is muscle memory and just kind of remembering what certain things look like and knowing where to find the answers. Because you're not always going to have all the answers.
Sure thing. There is a question from Nueta. I hope I spelled it right. But I wanted to ask you, when it comes to your personal ethical hacking journey, what was one of the things that you found very, very challenging, but also very satisfying once you figured it out?
There were a few. So Active Directory. Active Directory was the Active Directory was a big one, because at the time when I got certified in pen testing, there weren't a lot of Active Directory trainings. It was just kind of like that OSCP type, buffer overflow stuff, and that came after the fact. But by that time, I had moved into application testing, so I was testing web apps. So Active Directory would be a big one, be a big challenge. When I moved into web apps, just kind of understanding that web application or application pen testing and network pen testing or infrastructure pen testing are two different worlds. They still follow the core 5 phases, which we can get into in a little bit. But there's some different tools that require you to kind of get that understanding. Like, I had no idea how to use Burp Suite when I first got into web app testing, right? And then so it's just kind of learning the new elements of each side. So so there was a learning curve when I jumped from infrastructure to network to web app pen testing. And then when I went from web app pen testing to API pen testing, that was a completely different animal than all of them, because APIs, you're not looking at a screen or a GUI or a monitor, so to speak. You're kind of looking basically at the back end. So you have to use tools like Postman, and then you have to figure out how to use Postman to proxy through Burp Suite and all of that. So there's a bunch of different challenges. And then just kind of understanding some of the basic syntaxes, right? Coming from help desk, a Windows help desk or a Windows sysadmin environment, and then jumping into Linux and having to learn the whole Linux command line, and commands like nmap and netcat and stuff like that. Those are all little challenges, but it's nothing that you can't overcome with, again, just kind of putting in that work and getting that hands-on muscle memory. You're on mute again, sir.
My bad. I keep doing that. It's a habit to mute when I'm not talking, and I just keep forgetting to go back and forth. One of the questions is, do you have all the codes memorized?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned muscle memory before. I mean, there are quite a few.
Yes.
That after
I know most of the nmap flags, right? So, or I know the nmap flags that I need to know.
Yeah.
But more important than knowing all the codes, I know where to find them. So again, Google is your friend. And as you progress through it, there are different websites and things that we can utilize. So for example, if you're a developer or a coder, you're most likely going to go to Stack Overflow, right? Or that was back in the day, and I think still is the go-to for coding. But for pen testers, there's different blog sites, there's articles, there's podcasts, that you can look up with different skills, with different resources to get that information. Going back to what I said, I was on an Active Directory pen test in the beginning of this year, and I hadn't touched Active Directory in years, and I literally had I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I literally had their YouTube videos right up next to me while I was on my laptop. and learning how to use the different commands and the different syntaxes that you had to do. There's another one. They have a mind map. There's a lot of mind maps out there now where they literally can show you the progression, and it's almost like what was the result? Did you find this? Then go this way. If not, then go that way. So there's a lot of different resources. So so knowing the answer or knowing how to find the answer is just as important as knowing everything. You're doing it again.
Man, another question. Are you looking to mentor anyone?
Absolutely. So I have a couple of different things that I'm working on. One that I'm doing actually, well, I guess even for some of my adults, 'cause I actually have more adult people than kids right now. But there's a new platform called Haiku that actually teaches a lot of cybersecurity and ethical hacking things through a video game. It's almost like a role-playing type game. And you progress as you progress through the game, you learn more skills. And then they actually have a paid version called Haiku Pro, where as you develop those skills, it actually updates your LinkedIn profile. So I partnered with them when they kind of found out that I was doing a lot of I wanted to do cybersecurity related stuff, but I also do mentorship. Or I'm planning on doing other mentorship groups. Like I have one group that I want to do that's going to meet twice, either in person here at the center or remote virtually. And we can do different walkthroughs, and then also do like networking events where people can kind of help with resume tips and things of that nature. So so if you want to send me your information, I can definitely keep you posted on, or I can add you to the newsletter or whatever and keep you posted on when that's ready to go.
One more. Have you included AI into your toolkit for ethical hacking? Meaning, do you turn to ChatGPT for assistance?
I've tinkered with it. I'm like Will Smith and iRobot, right? In the beginning when he didn't want to hear it. I've used ChatGPT for a lot. It's very useful for a lot of different things. From a cybersecurity standpoint, I was like, I'm a little cautious, especially when you're dealing with people's, source code or things like that. Which, by the way, never upload your source code to ChatGPT. Please don't do that. But like I said, so I've used ChatGPT to help me create little scripts. I've used ChatGPT to kind of go through certain processes. But like I said, as far as like fully incorporating it, I haven't. I know there's a tool, there's a script out there. I think it's called Pentest GPT that that literally works with ChatGPT, and you can basically feed it the information and it'll tell you what to do. I think that's a little bit, that's kind of cheating, because again, we're going to go back into 2020, 2021 when everybody said they had the skills but don't really. So like I said, like I said, it's very minimal at this point. I'm pretty sure at some point, it's going to probably be a recommended method. But for me personally, no, not yet. Like I said, I use it for research purposes, but I haven't really used it and incorporated it in my toolkit or my attack methodology yet.
To answer it from my perspective, I use it quite often. I also believe everyone else should use it as often as you can, but don't forget to, how do I say this? When you get your results, ensure that you check for plagiarism and tone. So you can use Grammarly. I use Grammarly 24/7.
Yep.
And I think there's another one called Quillbot, which is just a paraphrasing tool. But one of the things that you can do is, for instance, this is what I do, is I start a new thread and I keep that thread and I say, hey, assume that I am a senior penetration tester. And it'll assume that I'm a senior penetration tester. And then I would say, write a description and a remediation for this finding. And then I would paste in the finding. And then it would give me the remediation as a senior pen tester would. And then, of course, you got to tell it to write the remediations in paragraph form, because it will literally give you step by step. Of course, just like Davin said, don't put your source code in there. Don't put any organizations pertinent information in there. But if there's something that you're struggling with, either a executive summary or a conclusion, you could literally say, rewrite this as a senior pen tester, copy, paste your conclusion in there, and it will rewrite your conclusion. And then you can do it over.
Oh, no, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
For documentation purposes, absolutely. I'm just talking about as far as like using it for the actual test.
To get an answer, be like, hey, I found this service. How do I hack it?
Right.
Yeah. It most likely won't do that. Same for phishing emails. If you were to say create a phishing email to have someone engage and click on the URL, it won't do it. But if you were to take the word phishing out,
there's way
it will do it. So like it's really weird.
Around it, yeah.
What do you think is the hardest part about getting into ethical hacking or just cybersecurity in general?
Mindset. A lot of the time, what I've noticed recently, and I don't want to, name names, but sometimes people kind of get in their own way. They see what imposter syndrome. They see what other people are doing. They see what a Ty Wilson or a Davin Jackson or a BSD Bandit, Charles Shearer, Tim Medine, they see what those guys are doing, and it's kind of like, I want to be there, but they don't understand that there's 15, 20, 30 years of experience behind it. And they want that kind of instant gratification. And then also the mindset of when you don't fully understand something, to have the mindset and the motivation to kind of stick with it. That's one that I've seen a lot, where it's like, I'm trying to work on the CTF and I can't figure it out, or I'm trying to figure out how to do blind SQL injection, and it's not working. And, they feel like it's not for them. It's all about mindset. If you have the basic skill set, which a lot of us do, going back to what I said, games like video games can teach you the mindset, right? Having that awareness when you're playing a game like a Call of Duty or a Fortnite, and noticing that there's a build over here, or this house is it has been broken down, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. That, okay, that means that something's different over here. It's no different than when you're doing a port scan and you're realizing, hey, there's a service here that's probably not supposed to be here. Let's dig into that service. Or, this version, I know this version is about 2 versions behind of the current version. So now let's dig into that. So it's just all about having that mindset and that belief that you can achieve it. If you're not super technical, that I can see where that could be a challenge. But again, it's for me, it's just mindset. For example, server-side request forgery. I could not grasp that concept for like a good year and a half, maybe 2 years. Right? It was just, I just could not grasp. Like, I would get the open redirect part, but I couldn't figure out how to, it just comes with time. It just comes with a lot of time, and sometimes you'll have to read something, and it might take months, but then something might happen, and it's like that aha moment, and then you go back and reread it, and now you have a better understanding of it. Like, I constantly, I don't say start from scratch, but every once in a while, I'll go back and skim through some old books or old readings that I did, and see if I have a better grasp on it now than when I read it 2-3 years ago. So it's just like, it's just all having the mindset and just being patient.
So let's get into the ethical hacking and the ethical hacking workshop. Tell us a little bit about it, and then let us know, what was your motivation for creating the course, creating the workshop?
Right. So so the workshop is basically, it's about 3.5 hours. And we go through that whole process of getting that hands-on experience. So we spend the first maybe about hour or so going through the basics of pen testing, why ethical hacking is necessary, the difference between ethical hacking and what you hear about on TV with the negative stereotypes of malicious actors. Like, I don't call those hackers, because hacking in its traditional sense is tricking a system or getting a system to do something that it wasn't necessarily intended to do. But you have shows like Mr. Robot and foreign actors and stuff, and now they just put us all in the same box. So we go through that process of kind of this, describing the difference between ethical hacking and malicious actors. I'll give you a spoiler right now. We get permission to do it, and if you don't, it's illegal. So, but we go through that, and then we kind of go through the 5 phases of a pen test, or the 5 basic phases. So you have, or 6 phases. So you have your pre-engagement, which I think is super important, because that's where you're determining what's allowed, what's not allowed, what's in scope. You're determining the rules of engagement, when to engage, who to talk to if something goes wrong. That's just as important as anything else that you're doing, because there's a strong possibility that something could go wrong, especially if you're dealing with applications and you're testing in prod. By the way, if you get to that point, never test in production. If you can avoid it, please avoid it like the plague. I got too many horror stories about that. But you have your pre-engagement phase, and then you have your enumeration phase, and that's where you're getting that initial information. So you're doing your passive recon. So you're looking on social media, you're looking on Google, you're looking on anything that's not going to alert your target that you're scoping them out. Then you have your reconnaissance. And scanning phase. This is where you're actively scanning. So now you might be scanning their systems for open ports. You're scanning their web application for any type of, you're scanning the source code, checking the source code for any type of vulnerabilities or misconfigurations. Once you have a solid list of possible vulnerabilities or true vulnerabilities, now you move into your exploitation phase. This is where you're actually trying to weaponize those vulnerabilities to see if you can gain access into your system. Once you gain access to the system, now you're moving into your post-exploitation or your privilege escalation. So now you're trying to figure out what you can do from that. You gained access into the system. That's great. Now what? What information can you get from there? So essentially, you're starting over again. You're doing your recon all over again in that system. Do I need to elevate my privileges to that of an admin user? Or do I need to pivot to another computer and try to see if I can work my way up that way? And then finally, once you get through all of that and the pen test is done, you have your report phase where you have to kind of write out everything that you did from the very beginning down to your conclusion. So we kind of go through that in detail. And then while we're doing that, I'm going through different things that you can do for little exercises. So for example, in your information gathering phase, I'm having you, check social media or Google of yourself or your target. During your recon phase, where we're learning about using tools like Nmap and things like that to test ports, to scan for any open ports or any type of anomalies that you find there. We're going to learn the basics of using tools like Metasploit. We're also going to do exploitation with Metasploit, and we're going to do exploitation without it. And then we're going to go through the post-exploitation phase, where we're going to try to elevate privileges and see if we can get root or sysadmin level access on our target system. And then we go through the report phase, where I'm kind of explaining how to do that, how to write the report, from the executive summary, writing out the technical details, writing out your vulnerability and your findings, your remediation recommendations, and then your conclusion. And then after we go through that, during that process, we're walking through a vulnerable machine, but then you're going to go ahead and test one on your own in the next hour. And now you're going to have that time to kind of go through it. And then after that, we'll walk through the process together. And then also in that whole workshop, I'm teaching you how to build a virtual environment. So we're going to go through building out a virtual machine using VirtualBox or VMware, installing a virtual machine, a virtual Kali distribution on your end. But then we're also going to download and install 2 vulnerable machines from a safe website where you can test for CTFs and things like that. And then we're going to walk through the process together. So that's kind of what the workshop entails. And my motivation for doing that was, again, that mindset, right? Going back to the mindset where you talk to certain people where they may have read all the books and watched the videos, but they don't feel comfortable going through that process, going through that methodology. They don't know when to stop. When do I stop doing recon? When do I start with, active scanning? When do I stop that and go into exploitation? What do I do here? So now you're going to have, someone like myself kind of go through that process and say, okay, look, we've gone through this, we've done this, now we can move forward. And, I'm trying to kind of give tips and tricks on things you can do in that process as well.
Nice. I just posted the link to the workshop on Eventbrite. But let the crowd know what they would need to set up prior to attending the class.
So, so you have, I mean, if you're going to be here in person, you can bring a laptop with I'd say about 100 gigs. You probably don't need all of that, but you want to have a decent laptop with a decent amount of RAM that can run 2 VMs at once. So you're going to probably need somewhere around, I'll say about 8 to 16 gigs of RAM. And then, like I said, then you're going to need to go to sites like vulnhub.com or CTF. Was it CTF Time? I don't remember. But you can download the virtual machines from there. You also can go to virtualbox.org to download the VirtualBox hypervisor software, which will then allow you to create the virtual machine. And then you also have to download a version of Kali from Kali.org. So again, we would go through that whole process of, finding the right image to download, do you have to unzip the files or what have you. As a matter of fact, when we go, and those who sign up for the course, I'm already going to set up like a Google Drive that's going to have all that. So you can just download it from there. And then we're going to go through the process together during the workshop.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I have another question. It is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Davin Jackson, what does the cybersecurity industry mean to you personally?
I mean, the easy answer would be protection, right? But that's essentially what we're doing, is we're protecting those who may not have the right knowledge or understanding. For me, it's a little bit more personal than that. Like I have kids, I have elderly family. I've had family who have been victims of different cyber crimes and scams and things like that. So for me, it's about protecting those who don't have the wherewithal or the knowledge to protect themselves virtually. Tech is, it's not even tech is the future. Tech is now, and it's going to continue to get more and more advanced. And there is a generation before us who aren't as technically savvy as a lot of us. There are some of us in our generation who aren't technically savvy at all. And I just don't like seeing people be victimized. I don't like people getting their personal information stolen or their information leaked on the internet. I don't like seeing, people in general, getting their personal pictures or privacy invaded. So for me, I look at it from a standpoint of I'm doing my part, right? I believe in being the change that you want to see. So if I can do my part, then that's what I'll do. And which kind of then dovetails into why I'm doing this here, is because there's a lot of people who need to have this knowledge or want to have this knowledge and can't afford it, right? I'm not saying that everything is absolutely free. It's not. I have bills to pay just like everybody else. But there are some people who really want to get into tech but don't have thousands of dollars to pay for courses, and now because they can't afford it or because they don't want to take out a loan, they don't know what they can do to either better their lives or protect their loved ones at home. I think that's kind of crazy. So I feel like, again, be the change you want to see. and protect those who don't have the knowledge to protect themselves. And again, it could be something as simple as change your default router password, stuff like that. Mute.
That's from Mariah. What kind of question? I mean, what kind of projects would you show off in a portfolio if you were just starting out?
I would create content, right? You don't have to put your face in the camera, but I would write blogs for if you're pen testing. Write about what you're learning. Write about today I learned about Nmap, and Nmap has several flags, and if I want to scan this port, I would use a -P flag. If I wanted to scan for service, I would do a -lowercase s capital V. Write about what you're learning. If you're doing CTFs, if you're doing stuff like Try Hack Me or the Haiku, like I mentioned, or Hack the Box, write up your process. Write up what you're doing, how you started from the first scan to how you got root. Write it all up. And then what I typically tell my mentees is bring some of those write-ups with you when you go on that interview. So bring your resume, but then also bring a write-up, because what happens with that is when you bring that, you're showing your interviewer your thought process going through this pen test. And I always say, make sure you do varying levels of difficulty. Like don't download a bunch of easy pen testing CTFs and then say, oh look, and it's like, okay, yeah, that was simple. You could just find that on Metasploit. Show where you struggle. Show, if you had to research something, write that in your blog, write that in your content, saying at this time I had to Google this because I didn't quite understand it. Because again, you're showing your thought process. And again, going back to the previous question about knowing all the codes, one thing that a lot of interviewers like that they don't really say out loud is that they don't necessarily care if you know all the answers. They just want to know if you can find the answer when needed. And essentially, and Ty you can correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of the time we're Googling we're Googling a third, if not half the stuff we need to find.
Sometimes you Google easy stuff only because it's just one little switch that you just can't remember because you're getting old.
Yeah, fact. I
Yeah.
mean, look, my personal cheat code, when I first started blogging, I blogged about everything that I struggled to find. Why? Because now if I couldn't find the answer, if I forgot about it later, I know I wrote something about it. So now I can go to alphacybersecurity.tech and just say, what was that article again? Going back to what I said about server-side request forgery, when I could not understand that, I literally wrote an article. I wrote a blog article about it. And now, because now one of the things that they say is the best way to learn something is to try to teach it. So now I have to make sure I know it. I have to make sure it's accurate. Now you have that added level of motivation there. So again, roundabout, just to say, document everything that you're doing. And if you're comfortable with putting it out, put it out. If you don't want to do a blog, if you don't want to do your own blog, post it up to Medium. Do a Twitter thread, But again, your show, go on LinkedIn, just show your methodology, show your thought process, that'll go a long way.
I see someone wants to start some controversy, so let's I'm about to post it up. Is there really an entry-level job in cybersecurity?
Yes. The problem is that everybody wants to jump and get a CISSP with 6 months in. Yes, there are definitely entry-level jobs in security. And I don't want to knock anybody who's in the SOC, because I think that's an essential job, and I don't think that's an easy job. But a lot of people do get their start in the SOC, being a junior SOC analyst. There are junior pen tester roles. You can do other things like I said in the previous question, documenting your information, and that can also help you land a job. There are a bunch of different meetup groups, and you could put that on your resume as well. But yes, but to answer your question, yes, there are entry level jobs. It's just you just have to kind of find them, and you have to kind of be okay with the fact that they are indeed entry level. Everybody wants to jump to, you know, cloud architect or senior whatever. And, you know, there are a lot of entry level jobs. It just depends on what you're looking for. Sometimes you have to, again, sometimes you might have to take a SOC role before you get into pen testing. Sometimes there are junior pen testing roles. Well, yes, there are junior roles.
Okay, I have a personal question.
Yes, sir.
For you. How would you describe your personal journey through the industry thus far?
Enlightening, right? In a positive and negative way. There were a lot of pitfalls because I didn't know where to find a mentor. I tried to find mentors, but no one would take me up on my offer. And I did a lot of stuff on my own. Again, going back to Alpha Cybersecurity, if you see that logo, actually, right here, you see it's just the one wolf, because that was me. I was like the one-man wolf pack, just kind of going through everything. And you know, I had to learn the hard way that, you know, you don't have to know everything. So going back to that other question, I thought I had to know everything there was to know, and, you know, you find yourself burning out very quickly. But I'm grateful because I consider you like a big brother. I have you, I have JB, John Breath, Mary Galloway. There's a lot of people that you know, that had I not taken this journey, I would have never been blessed with the opportunity to meet. So I do take, you know, I take the good with the bad, and the good definitely outweighs the bad. And also, even in the things that happen negatively, you learn from it, right? The cybersecurity industry is just like any other industry that's out there. There's the good, there's the bad, and there's the ugly. It just depends on the character of person that you are and that you want to be, and how you navigate through that.
Okay, I have another question, of course. I know people like to ask the question about what would you do if you were to go back to your younger self? You know, what would you tell your younger self? But I'm going to flip it on you. What would your younger self, if your younger self could go into the future and see you right now, what do you think your younger self would say?
There would probably be a lot of cuss words. Honestly, I feel like my younger self would probably look at my older self in amazement, honestly. I would like to think that I would be proud of all that I was able to accomplish. Because again, I'm not college educated. I'm not the smartest. I'm a young black. Well, no, I'm not young anymore, but I'm a black kid from Bridgeport, Connecticut. If you know anything about Bridgeport, you know what that is. If not, look it up. But you know, I didn't. There were a lot of different odds that were against me. Hell, I had some people in my own family and friend circle who didn't think that I would actually achieve getting into tech and cybersecurity and being where I'm at now. So I think I think my younger self would definitely be impressed. I think my younger self would probably tell my older self to remember why I got in it and remember to keep that dog in them and to, you know, block out all the negativity. But like I said, probably in a little bit more expletive fashion.
We have, what was it from, can you give some advice and tips on the cybersecurity certification path?
Again, it kind of goes back into what you want to do in cybersecurity. So if I'm just going to speak from a pen tester path,
Yeah.
I would say you would probably learn the basics of networking so you can go Network Plus. I know there's some arguments for the CCNA. I'm not here to debate either one. I think the Network Plus suffices as a basic networking because you're going to have to know that because you have to know your network ports. You have to know TCP versus UDP. You have to know the TCP handshake or TCP/IP handshake. You have to know all of that. So there's networking. I would also say look into the Security Plus because that kind of goes into the basics of security and the CIA triad. So confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That it goes into that. And then if you're going to do pen testing, you can go. I mean, there's a lot of different options now. Back when I was doing it, it was basically the CEH. But now there's the Pen Test Plus from CompTIA. There's the PNP. There's the EJPT. There's a PNPT. There's what's Cyber Mentors?
You just said it.
Yes, yeah, PNPT. So there's a lot of different options out there now. There's a bunch of different resources that weren't available when I got started. Try Hack Me wasn't out. Hack the Box wasn't out. VulnHub was there, but you have a bunch of different resources where you can go there and learn about it as well. And again, like the certifications are great. So I would say Network Plus, Security Plus, and then maybe, like I said, a pen test certification. If you want to go down the path of the OSCP, go for it. But there's other ones out there. And then but after you get that basic pen testing certification, I would say sit still for about a year and really develop your hands-on skills. Like really hone in those hands-on skills. Like really understand what's happening during an Nmap scan. Really understand how to do reverse shells and the different type of exploits. Understand why the exploit works. There might come a time where you have an exploit, but it's not necessarily tailored to the system that you're working, and you might have to fine tune it and tweak it. So understand how all of that works. Getting that hands-on knowledge, like I said, is super important. Some of the best hackers that I know don't have certifications, right? But they really work on their hands-on craft all the time. So, like I said, once you kind of get that basic foundation, just grind out the hands-on stuff. Because again, when you do advance to a more advanced certification, whether it's the OSCP or the GPEN from SANS or what have you, there are going to be a lot of hands-on elements to those exams, and you're going to have to know your stuff to get through it.
Okay, we have a few more questions, and then we're gonna wrap up with some closing words. Alex wants to know, how do you see cyber evolving going forward? And if you were starting a company today, what areas do you see are unfulfilled?
AI. There's a lot. That's going to be a big boom. Cloud's going to be big, or cloud is big already. Everything is moving into the cloud. So I mean, cloud, AI. And again, it just kind of depends on your preference. I saw something about GRC. GRC is a great one. I'm not going to say it's not technical at all, because there is some technical aspects to it, but GRC is a great one as well if you want to get into the compliance and regulations and things like that. So that's all. And then again, that there's also a big need for that as well, especially as NIST is, with NIST going on and all these other things happening, you're going to need people who are going to have to understand that. So I would say, but it's all security based. So cloud security, AI security around AI, API security, because APIs are behind pretty much everything that's out there, from the cloud to IoT. So API and application security, and GRC. So I would probably say those four. So AppSec, CloudSec, security around AI, and GRC.
One more last one. If you can provide some guidance, Ian has been in the field for about 10 years, help desk as some system administrator, and received a master's in cybersecurity. help.
Okay. So again, without having a full understanding of what you want to do, making that transition, but whatever it is, do it. Do it. Right. I don't want to assume that you haven't tried, but I would definitely probably look at how to tailor your resume a little differently. Because I mean, 10 years doing sysadmin work, you have a lot of stuff that can be transferred into a cyber role. So I think you want to hone in on exactly what it is you want to do, whether it's pen testing or SOC analyst or what have you, and figure out what transferable skills you have that you can bring there. And again, I would probably touch up your resume, and I would start talking to some I would start talking to some job recruiters. Get on LinkedIn. Don't start don't I mean, you could email and apply to a bunch of stuff, but talk to them directly. See if you can get feedback on why, if you did put stuff out, why were you rejected? Someone just looked through my window. But like, why were you rejected? Why did they move on? If you can get that feedback, figure out what you need to do. And again, if there is a hands-on element to whatever it is you want to transition to, build out a lab. You can build a SOC lab, you can build a pen test lab, you can build a cloud environment in AWS or Azure or Google or GCP or what have you. So just get that hands-on element too. And again, write all of that up, document it.
Yeah, as you can see, everyone, Davin is a wealth of knowledge. Definitely find your personal way to connect with Davin, DM him, find him on Twitter or social media, reach out. I'm always here to help. Same way for myself. Just to run it back a little bit, and while I'm running it back, I have a question that I like to pose at the beginning and at the end. But if you're comfortable, let us know where in the world you are tuning in from right now. So to run it back, this is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. If you don't know, October is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, or NCSAM. As part of NCSAM, my company, Cover6 Solutions, is providing a helpful educational video every day this month. So you can find it on our YouTube channel at Cover6 Solutions, anywhere on the social media platforms, from Twitter to Facebook to Instagram to LinkedIn even. We've been very busy all month. There was mention of AI. I'm actually using AI to create the content. So it's been pretty fun. It is a chore a little bit, but it's for you all. The journey has been great. We are in year 10 for the company, almost year 12 for the meetup group. Yeah, we've reached 10,000 members in the meetup group a couple of weeks ago. If you went to B-Sides Nova, you were probably there to celebrate with us. I'll tell you that bar tab, the bar tab for the after party that we had was no joke, but it was worth it. 10 years in the making. Definitely give us a like and subscribe. We also have memberships on the YouTube channel, super chats, things of that nature. So, we do it all for you. We've been doing it for free for over 10 years. I'm going to keep it that way for as long as I possibly can. I don't see myself changing. I enjoy it. We are planning to do some in-person meetups, but Davin,
yes, sir.
Let us know what we want. We want you to close it out. I did put the link to your event coming up at the end of the month on the screen. Let us know really quick who you are, how the people can find you, and how much fun this event is going to be at the end of the month. And I know you're probably just saying that right now because I know it's going to be tough as hell, but you're going to be, you won't know that until you get in class. Let's just say you will be frustrated, but that's part of the process, to experience a little bit of frustration. But go ahead, Davin.
So again, I'm Davin Jackson. First and foremost, like I said, I am a father and a husband to two amazing, I mean, they're annoying, but amazing children and an amazing woman who is my rock. So it's always shout out to them. And like I said, I am a pen tester, or I'm a hacker in the sense of, like I said, now I'm an esports coach and and all of that. But like I said, honestly, I'm just somebody trying to, again, be the change that they want to see in the world. And I think if everybody kind of did that and kind of had that self-awareness and even look at themselves and figure out where they're not perfect, and make a valiant effort to work on it, I think things will go great. I can be found on Twitter or X. I'm not really on there too much lately, but you can find me at DJax_alpha on X, Twitter. Same thing on Instagram, and then also on LinkedIn, it's just Davin Jackson. And then I'm also with my center, Alpha Esports Tech, on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. I have a TikTok now. That's another story. But
when you're gonna start doing this stuff?
Nah, you're gonna get some gameplay footage and a little bit of advice. I've already said I'm not dancing. Yeah, the thumbnails. Like, no, but like I said, I'm doing that. I also have, my other stuff, Alpha Cybersecurity and InfoSec Unplugged, which is my podcast that will be coming back soon. Again, I've just had to take a break to kind of get this stuff off the ground, but we'll be getting back to that very soon. So you can check that out, youtube.com/Alpha Cybersecurity, and give us a like, follow, and subscribe over there as well. So that's pretty much it, man. And like I said, and for the workshop, again, yeah, it's some work. It's a lot of work in the background, but I'm actually excited. Ty, you know this. I've said this for how long, that I'm like, the next phase of my career, I wanted to do teaching, and you've always said, "Yo, do it. Come over here, whatever." So, I tried my hand at partnering with other folks, and it didn't work out. So I just figured, I'm gonna do it myself. So yes, it's a lot of work, but it's definitely a labor of love, because this is where I see myself transitioning to the next phase of my career. Like, yes, I'm not the greatest hacker, but I'm pretty good. I'm pretty decent. I'm okay. And I feel like I can help others be okay too. And being okay is good enough to kind of get you where you need to be, at least to get started in your career. And again, you might, after the workshop, who knows, we could probably hang around and get some gaming in afterwards. I mean, we are a gaming center after all. So if you want to come by in person, we're here, 1300 Peachtree Industrial Boulevard, Suwanee, Georgia. If not, you can also do it virtually, and hey, maybe we link up and play online.
That's pretty Indeed. Much it. We should definitely talk.
Yeah.
Thank you, Davin, for joining us. Thank you, everyone else in the chat, for joining us. There was a lot of knowledge here tonight. There's, of course, a lot that we didn't go over, but the stuff that we did go over, I'm hoping it was really informative. If there's anyone out there that you feel will benefit, please be sure to share it with them. Also, be sure to like and subscribe. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Good luck, Davin. Your workshop, I know it's going to be great, and you all have a really good night.
Good night, everybody.